Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. This week has been pure chaos regarding Newjeans and ADOR CEO Hee Jin, from more failed attempts at mediation to new shocking testimonies. Before we get started though, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. On the 11th of September, another mediation was held regarding the case between Newjeans and their contract validity with ADOR. A mediation is a private negotiation session that neither the judge nor public is allowed to be present for. It allows both parties to come to an agreement if one or either believe that the court's verdict will not be benefiting them. The first attempt at mediation was on August 14th, where members Danielle and Minji attended with their legal representatives. The negotiations lasted 1 hour but ultimately failed, meaning they were not able to come to an agreement. Their second mediation was just a couple days ago on the 11th of September. This time, none of the Newjeans members were present, and instead only their and ADOR's representatives attended. The second attempt at mediation lasted only 20 minutes, which shocked many industry insiders, with legal analysts suggesting that both sides are now fully committed to court litigation. Reports suggest that tensions have escalated between Newjeans' legal team and ADOR's board representatives, who are still backed by HYBE. According to statements from those close to the case, the absence of Newjeans members at this second mediation also signaled that the relationship between the artists and the company may be beyond repair. Media outlets have reported that during the mediation, neither side showed any flexibility, and both were primarily focused on preparing their arguments for the formal court ruling in October. This makes the upcoming court decision even more critical, as it may set a legal precedent for how K-pop contracts and company disputes are handled moving forward. The second mediation was also proven to be ineffective as they were not able to come to an agreement. With 2 failed mediation attempts, the court will now issue its final ruling on the 30th of October, finally deciding whether Newjeans must continue as artists under ADOR or whether the group truly have grounds to end their contracts with their label. Newjeans' second mediation wasn't the only notable event on the 11th of September, as ADOR CEO Hee Jin's testimony was accepted by the court. This would mean that she would go on the stand and explain her case by answering the questions her lawyers ask. HYBE's lawyers would also have the right to question Hee Jin during her testimony, meaning that this could either really benefit her or completely ruin things for her moving forward. Other than her, Jin Soo-jong, the chief legal officer, was also a witness that was cross-examined by Min. During the cross-examination, they focused on key issues: the non-compete clause in the shareholders' agreement, what Min has called a slave contract, suspicions of album bulk buying by HYBE, and allegations that ᴄᴇᴅ copied Newjeans. Min challenged Young's earlier statement that, during past discussions, he had suggested the possibility of revising parts of the shareholders' agreement, including the non-compete clause, accusing him of perjury. Min countered, "At that time there were no clear answers or positive signals." Young replied, "I don't recall having testified in such absolute terms." Regarding allegations that ᴄᴇᴅ plagiarized Newjeans, Min argued, "This was already a topic being widely discussed across all online communities even before I raised it." Young countered, "Every group is subject to claims of resembling others. Such comments rise and fall all the time." Young further argued that Min's allegations amounted to carrying out a plan to hollow ADOR into an empty shell. He added, "It seems she wanted HYBE to be forced, unwillingly, into selling ADOR." The court announced that Min will undergo one more round of direct examination on November 27th, with final arguments scheduled for December 18th. Young further argued that Min's allegations amounted to carrying out a plan to hollow ADOR into an empty shell. Young was also asked whether Hee Jin had attended any undisclosed meeting with investors. Undisclosed meaning she intentionally went out of her way to hide this meeting from the higher-ups in HYBE. Young responded with, "There have also been separate reports. Late last year and early this year, someone reported that defendant Hee Jin met people to secure investment from a Japanese investor. Regarding who provided him this information, Jun stated, 'It is difficult to speak about as the informant requested anonymity. Specific details were provided, such as the Japanese investor visiting South Korea in January this year and arranging a meeting room at a well-known venture capital firm that had advised Min on shareholder agreements.' He was then asked if he had heard of any specific investments that the Japanese investor provided to Newjeans, which in essence was asking if Hee Jin was successful in getting third-party investors for Newjeans behind HYBE's back, which if proven true can be clear ground for Min's contract termination, as it would be a severe breach of contract." Jun said, "At the time, there was a provisional disposition application for Newjeans' exclusive contract. I also showed materials where law firm Sejong's, Hee Jin and Newjeans' law firm, opinion letter, stating a 100% victory for Newjeans' injunction, was translated into Japanese and delivered to the investor. It means that if this is proven to be true, Newjeans and Min's lawyers believed that Newjeans had a 100% chance of coming out victorious for the injunction, which many netizens believe is why the members appeared so comfortable comfortable and happy when walking out of their first trial. They also pointed out that during an interview, Danielle mentioned that she and the rest of the group were expecting the alternative outcome, meaning that they wouldn't have been served an injunction and could have resumed their activities independently. Another key document that was brought up during the hearing was a project previously revealed by HYBE during their audit. The document belonged to former Vice President Lee Sang-woo under the instruction of former CEO Min and was titled Project 1945. The purpose of the document was to try and pressure HYBE's management by attacking Elite and ᴄᴇᴅɪᴛꜱ. The name of the project was especially criticized as 1945 was the year Japan faced the brutal and heartbreaking bombing. It was especially scrutinized considering that Elite and ᴄᴇᴅɪᴛ괱 have 4 Japanese members combined. It was also, however, the year South Korea found independence, most likely indicating Min's intentions to find independence with ADOR from HYBE. HYBE's legal representative, during the plaintiff's witness examination that day, presented the Project 1945 document and asked CLO Jung Jin-soo, "What is the meaning of ᴄᴇᴅɪᴛ 2-19 and Elite 3-25 written in the music source stockpiling section?" CLO Jung Jin-soo stated, 2-19 is ᴄᴇᴅɪᴛ's comeback date and 3-25 is Elite's debut date, adding, particularly in Elite's case, they hadn't even debuted yet, but it appears there was an intention to attack them using that stockpiling frame. This meant that before Elite had even debuted, the former leaders of ADOR had already planned to accuse them of mass buying albums to boost their stats. This was supported by Hee Jin's accusations reading, "On the last day of Elite's first week sales, their numbers jumped by 80,000 units just to break Newjeans' record, so it's reasonable to suspect manipulation." Album bulk buying refers to when distributors or vendors buy albums in large quantities to artificially inflate initial sales numbers. According to HYBE and the document they found, Hee Jin had planned to accuse Elite of this from before they'd even debuted, raising more grounds for HYBE. In a document recording a meeting held with Newjeans' parents on March 29, 2024, preparations for attacks and public opinion campaigns targeting the two groups were also discovered. This meeting between Newjeans' parents' log contained entries such as searching for staff controversy, investigating community and SNS, same concept photos, Newjeans ripoff. The problem is intentionality, using media play, staying still is a loss, and remarks preparing for a public opinion campaign were found, including how to leak it to reporters, mentioning a specific reporter from a specific media outlet, M Company, Reporter U, and who to send it to, indicating that Newjeans' parents may have also played a big role in trying to ruin HYBE and their other girl groups' reputations. In fact, the involvement of Newjeans' parents has become one of the most controversial revelations in this ongoing saga. According to court documents and digital evidence collected during the audit, multiple messages and strategy notes were exchanged between Hee Jin and the parents, some of which allegedly included instructions on how to contact specific journalists and suggestions to monitor online forums for narratives they could amplify. Critics have pointed out that this level of collaboration blurs the line between family support and active participation in corporate power struggles. Meanwhile, Min's supporters argue that the parents were simply advocating for their daughters, who they claim were being sidelined by HYBE, in favor of newer groups like Elite. Either way, this aspect of the case has added a deeply personal and emotional layer to what was initially viewed as a corporate dispute. Furthermore, it was also revealed that after this meeting, on the same day, former CEO Min gave instructions via Kakao Talk to Shin Dong-hoon and Lee Sang-woo, such as, pull up the plan change, send the first round on April 3rd, we are preparing for a public opinion campaign, send the answer and detonate it after the 11th. HYBE emphasized that these all indicated towards Min trying to destroy HYBE's reputation, to the point that their stocks would drop significantly, so that she could then blackmail them into selling her ADOR along with Newjeans. One of Min's main focuses during this specific hearing was that Elite increased its sales to break Newjeans' records. Min said during her testimony, "The reason I came today was to speak fairly, but I heard so many lies that I thought it would have been a huge problem if I hadn't shown up." Min further accused HYBE of perjury, arguing that the company falsely claimed it had attempted to resolve matters Newjeans. "If you push even a single album, it is still pushing," Min explained. "The reason it is called pushing is because albums are sent out to distributors to secure first-week sales records. If there is concern that another team will not be able to break a record within a week, then bulk buying is done, which is what we call pushing." She added, "Even one album can take away another's number one, but in this case, it was not about 80,000 copies as a number. It is about how Elite's sales suddenly surged on the final day of the first week, raising suspicions that they were driven to surpass Newjeans' records." First week sales charts displayed that both Elite and Newjeans had a very linear increase regarding album sales, with neither containing outliers. Newjeans' album sales slowly started to drop to 2,000 a day before it suddenly spiked up to 9,200. Elite's album sales slowly reduced to 20,000 before going up by 88,000 the the following day. This would mean that Newjeans' album sales increased by 460% the next day, whilst Illett's only increased by 430%. That's a 30% difference. The number of albums may vary, but the rate at which they are increasing is very similar and not out of place. This is quite a typical percentage for popular groups under big companies. A similar rise can be seen in LE SSERAFIM's debut album, which went from 6,400 albums in a day to 27,700, which is also a 430% increase overnight. The court plans to question Min again on November 27 and wrap up arguments on Chapter 18, with a ruling expected in January of 2026. That's all for today. If you have any thoughts or comments, pop them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.